Hello world, hello YouTube, hi everybody. Welcome to Mr. Natural's Music School here in the Haight-Ashbury district of San Francisco, California. Welcome to my school. First thing I'd like to do is, please, buy my book, Music Theory Decoded, strictly by the numbers. In this book we teach intervals, we teach how intervals work, we teach about the tension intervals. The book starts out by showing you how to spell up to 35 scales in the major scale, taking the major scale and showing you how to spell it with the ABCs in 35 variations using sharps, double sharps, triple sharps, flats, double flats, and triple flats, which is about as far as the system goes, and then it turns around and resets. You'll find in here a device we call the intervalometer, and the intervalometer is a device that you can cut. Well, you can Xerox it actually and then cut it out of the book, or you could just cut it out of the book and then get yourself some kind of a lamination or something that you could press this in, so you got a nice lamination, and then cut it up and put it together, the strips together, and then it fits behind the keyboard. They got one over here, fits behind the black keys on your keyboard, and it will slide around in the different locations behind the keys like that, so you can see where the numbers correspond to the letter names. And you can use the numbers, the intervals, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and up to octave in order to spell anything with the ABCs, no matter how complicated it gets. I mean, I write things that have 17 sharps, and my students have no problem reading 17 sharps at all. I doubt if there's a musician out there staring at me right now that would even know how to start that process. And we got 9-year-olds doing it, okay? So what you do is you get this wonderful invention called the intervalometer. And this sits behind your keys, and it points out the intervals for the major scale here. It has blue stripes where the blues notes are at on the piano. On the other side, it has here in red the natural minor scale laid out, and then if you add a red 7 or sharpen the 7, then you get what's called the harmonic minor scale. If you sharpen the 6, a red 6 and a red 7, or hot going up, and then play the natural numbers coming down, you'll have the classical melodic minor scale. Now in jazz, they play the melodic minor scale the same way, going up and down. And not how it was officially, not the way Bach does it, okay? So it's hard to improvise or play where you're changing and having major chords going up in the minor scale and then having them be naturally minored as you're coming back down. So the nice thing about the intervalometer is it gives you a visual cue of what notes to ignore. And if you know what notes not to hit, that simplifies the keyboard visually for you, so you can create a picture of that scale and then play and fool around with it and have fun. There's also a transposition slider in there where it sits a little bit higher than the other one, and you can offset them. So if you want to switch from one key to another, you can look at the bottom slider and play, and then you can just, with your eye, switch to the upper slider and move into the new key. And you can use it to slide back and forth and modulate from one key to another quite fluidly, quite easily. And you can analyze music when there are chord changes in the music. It helps you figure all this stuff out because the numbers, the intervals, are the bones on which all the sinew and the muscle and the skin are built. So everybody has 206 bones. Those bones are pretty much the same. The bones for the major scale is pretty much the same as far as intervals are concerned, and then you can build it up using an ABC system. Heck, you can make up your own system. It could be square, circle, triangle, star. Doesn't matter what symbols you use, and you can start playing music. I have had a lot of kids who don't like the ABCs so much. They make up their own number system. We had one little girl who C was middle, was at 0, and then everything went from there in half steps all the way up to 120 something, and went minus 120 something. It confused us, but she picked up on it, and she taught herself how to read. When she came over here and we showed her our method, she realized how much simpler it was. It was pretty much like she had figure out on her own, so she moved over to our system, and then she found out that she could use it to read music quite easily and work out theory, etc., etc. So that's the ad for my book. Now, this week we are working on a new code word. We have our standard code words, drum, and please get yourself a pencil and a piece of paper and a hard backing that you can put it on. So it's a really, really good use for my book, right? You can take your piece of paper, put it on the book, then you have a hard backing so you can write out these things. The whole point of writing these rhythms, the whole point of me doing this dictation is so you have a teacher coaching you, gently bringing in these things, one a little bit harder than the next, a little harder than the next, etc., and it's to get you to write fluently. If you write fluently, you will be able to read music, okay? If you go to school and you learn how to read a book by sounding out words, what they call the see it, say it method, and you don't learn phonics, you will not learn the rules of spelling, and you'll find it very difficult to read books. If you don't practice writing, you won't be able to write anything. So to read a book and not write a paragraph is kind of nonsense. And that's what's happening in music schools across the world. Since we have moved over to electronic media now, where people can write, put notes up on a screen without knowing much of anything, push a button and hear some music, which is nice. We get a lot of stuff out there. But what's happening is the art of writing is getting lost in the shuffle. And so I'm trying to bring that back. Now, you can go on YouTube and you'll find some sites. I have some. If you look in my favorites button, you'll notice that I have some sites in the favorites button in which I am showing other people, showing you how to do these rhythms, etc. And they have their own little methods. Believe me, the Codeword method, finding words, if you speak English, you're a native speaker of English, finding English words that have those rhythms built in, and then putting together like little nonsense poems is by far the fastest way to actually be able to hear it and write it down. Dictation is easier if you're using code words, and you can hallucinate or hear these code words in your head. Then you can write this stuff down quite fluently, okay? If I did what other people did, which was put together, get a video editor, do about 50 takes at home, boil it all down into a 10, 15-minute video, and present the whole thing to you like everybody else does, okay? That's nice to condense things down into little sound bites because everybody has gotten used to that on video, but the truth is, academically, you want to have someone who can drill you for these things, and it takes 8 to 10 hours of constant work to be able to hear these things and then write them down until you develop a fluid handwriting. So please, when I say get out pencil and paper, that's the most important thing about what's happening, okay? We have this word, which we use the code word drum. We have this rhythm where we use the code word TAR-ZAN. We have this rhythm here where there are 2 flags going across, and we use the word alligator. We have introduced other things. We have introduced TAR-ZAN. We took alligator, TAR-ZAN, and made TAR-ZAN. We have also used this word, which is tar-gator. We have also shown that when you take this, if you tie these guys together, tar, what happens is you're producing this, which we call which is Humpty Dumpty, Humpty Dumpty, 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 Dumpty. If we turn this around and we tie these guys, these syllables together, right? Then we get alligator, 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 which is turned around. This becomes butter, butter, alligator, out, up, butter, butter. We have also introduced some suspensions. For instance, we took this idea of two TAR-ZANs, and if we tie these two syllables together, what we get is a TAR-ZAN, TAR-ZAN, ZAN, TAR-ZAN, ZAN, TAR-ZAN, ZAN, tar, tar, bum, 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 bum. And this can be rewritten as one flag, these two flags tied together to make what we call a quarter note. And then you get this, and this rhythm is bum, bum, TAR-ZAN, ZAN, TAR-ZAN, ZAN, TAR-ZAN, ZAN, TAR-ZAN, ZAN. This syncopation, augmented and diminished, is used a lot in jazz, and you will see it a lot in pop tunes. And it is the one offbeat rhythm that is probably used the most in music. I love this red ink. I hope you can see this red ink on the camera. I've been using the black ink, and it just gets the blackboard dirtier and dirtier, and it won't completely wipe off. But the red ink, you can see, is disappearing. Now, for a little aside, for you people out there who have facial hair that goes down to your chin and lower than your chin, people are always saying, Mr. Natural, when you eat, what happens? Well, when I eat food, I often wind up eating my beard. And for you people out there who have beards, I'll show you a little trick so you can stop eating the hair. After a while, you get a hairball like a, call it a hairball like an old cat. It's a simple little trick. I wear t-shirts, and another thing people have always said is, Mr. Natural, you always have something underneath your t-shirt we don't know what it is, okay? I'm going to expose that for you today. Here's the trick. You take your beard, you pull it in on the side like this, give it a little twist, tuck it inside of your t-shirt, and now you can eat food and not get it, right? Won't get it stuck in your zipper, won't get caught around the button when you stand up, pull off, right? And you can see the advertising. And of course, 90% of the time, what's underneath my beard is me. So here is a t-shirt that Robert Crumb sells online of Mr. Natural. Please go buy Robert Crumb's products. Anything with me on it, I recommend you buy it. He even has little squeeze toys for your dogs to chew up. So if you get mad at me, instead of pushing the dislike button, go buy one of those little rubber dolls of me and give it to a vicious dog and watch him rip me apart. So that's our little aside for today. Today, we're working on a code word which is basically known in the business as a triplet. And it looks like a TAR-ZAN with an extra ZAN tied on it, but usually they'll put a 3 over it, or they'll put a 3 under it with little rockers on it like that. You'll see it this way, or you'll see it drawn up like that quite often. This is the word elephant, 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 elephant. Now if I take that elephant and I tie it together with a couple of the code words we already know, listen to this. I'll do that again. Once more. Now that looks like this. Drum, elephant, drum, 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 elephant, drum, drum. Now the reason I took so long to get to the elephants is 2 reasons. One, it's the easiest word to hear because you're actually, everything else are even divisions. They're divided, they can be divided by 2. Your quarter notes, your eighth notes, your 16th, your 32nds, your 64 are all 2 to 1. And so they divide into each other nicely, and you can move from one to the other without changing the beat. and it always has this very square, I call this the very square, this really flat-footed feel. But when we get to elephant, 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 it feels round. It's almost as if you're shifting from second gear in your car back down to first gear. And then you shift back up to second. Then you shift down to first gear and you shift back up to second. What happens is the gear ratios change from being even, where all those other things are, you know, nice, even, multiple parts of each other, to a whole different gear which feels round. And then it comes back to this square, round, square. So on the one hand, it's the easiest code word to hear, and you could learn it on the first week. But I'm going to show you something a little bit later on here, and next week, in which we use the triplet. What?
Your image is frozen.
Ah, are we frozen? It's not moving?
The timer's moving.
Well, then it's recording, but somehow or another the video has gotten goofed up. That's always, excuse me for a second, that's always usually the hotspot lost the signal.
Now you've vanished.
I vanished completely? Want to try, see if you could push a button and get it going again?
It's going now.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I had to move the hotspot to a different location because I only get 2 bars here. We have the worst internet in the world. This is where computers were developed back in the 70s and 80s, and we're the only place in California that has the slowest internet in the world. We're blocks from Silicon Valley, and we can't get a fast speed in here to save our life. Sonic, please come into the Haight-Ashbury and save us from this dilemma. All right, so to get back to this, so the triplet is very easy to hear, but when we start suspending or holding some of those vowels back, and we start to learn to play the blues, we're going to learn a thing called the shuffle and swing playing. And in shuffle, we use that triplet figure, the L, fint, L, fint, L, fint, L, fint, and that next to hum, dee, dum, dee, hum, dee, dum, dee is very difficult to hear the difference. You can feel the difference more than you can hear the difference. So that's why I've waited for the triplet for so long, so you got used to all these other things that were exact multiples of each other. And for the next few weeks, we're going to start adding in triplets and mixing them up with the other code words, so you can feel that difference, till you can feel the subtle difference of 1/12 of a beat, and you can hear the difference between L, fint, and hum, dee, dum, dee. 1/12 of a beat. Okay, so you ready? Here's code. This is number 2. Again. Again. You should have drum, elephant, elephant, drum, drum, elephant, elephant, drum, drum, elephant, elephant, drum. Number 3. Again. Again. Now, when there's triplets, they almost always put a little 3 over it because it looks so much like a TAR-ZAN, because it has a single bar. You know, even if it's drawn like this, even if it's drawn out like that, people do this, and then suddenly these are no longer eighth notes. These become a triplet. All right? Next one. Again. Once more. TAR-ZAN, elephant, TAR-ZAN, drum. So that one should be, number 4 should be TAR-ZAN, elephant, TAR-ZAN, drum. I can't believe it. I wrote it down twice here. The next one was this. It's a variation of the one I just played. And I didn't notice that until just this minute. What I did is did the other one with a TAR-ZAN, right? Drum, elephant, TAR-ZAN, drum. Drum, elephant, TAR-ZAN, drum. Okay, ready? Again. Once more. TAR-ZAN, TAR-ZAN, elephant, drum. TAR-ZAN, TAR-ZAN, elephant, drum. Number 7. Tricky, because I'm not going to end it with a drum this time. Listen carefully. Again. Once more. Elephant, 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 TAR-ZAN. Elephant, 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 TAR-ZAN.
Number 8.
Got to get it in my head. TAR-ZAN, alligator, elephant, drum. TAR-ZAN, alligator, elephant, drum. TAR-ZAN, alligator, elephant, drum. You can feel that switch, can't you? And after a while, when you get used to that feel, you'll be able to hear a lot more subtle differences. Again, why we're doing this ear training. Okay. Next one. Alligator, TAR-ZAN, elephant, drum. Alligator, TAR-ZAN, elephant, drum. This one's going to be tricky because of the ending. Listen very carefully. One more time. Tarzan, elephant, Tarzan, elephant. Tarzan, elephant, Tarzan, elephant. And again, the reason I'm doing this and I'm drilling this is if you take this entire course, which will be about, let's see, this is number 16.
15.
15, 16, so divide that in half. And we're talking about 7 to 8 hours. And that's like 1 week in music school. And at the end of that, you'll be able to write down and read darn near any rhythm that comes up, right? And the important thing is being able to dictate. In music school, they want you to perform these things. To know it intellectually is one thing, that's kind of hot air, mental hot air, but to drive it into your body so your body feels it requires practice. You have to drill these things hour after hour until they just become a part of you, comfortable. So that's why I'm not just throwing up the 9 code words that we use and say, there they are, I've done my job, here's my 10 minutes on YouTube, we'll go to the next thing, right? That's not what a teacher does. I have to put you through a process. And if you're hanging in there with us and doing this, you should be feeling the burn right now. Okay, next one. Tarzan, elephant, Tarzan, drum. Tarzan, elephant, Tarzan, drum. Tarzan, elephant, Tarzan, drum. Next one's even trickier. Listen carefully, there's very slight subtleties here. Oops. You can write that down, but that's not what I have written on the paper. What I have written on the paper is alligator, elephant, alligator, Tarzan. You can see how hard that is because we're talking about just this little piece difference. So, right? Alligator, elephant, alligator, Tarzan, alligator, elephant, alligator, Tarzan, alligator, elephant, and then alligator, Tarzan. Your ear wants to hear more there. So that's why this one's tricky. So I look at the paper, turn to the board, and then forget what I just... Short-term memory loss. Do not smoke pot. It's short-term memory loss. Okay. Okay, another tricky one. Again. Tarzan, elephant, elephant, Tarzan. Put the 3's over the top. Tarzan, elephant, elephant, Tarzan. Tarzan, elephant, elephant, Tarzan. We're switching from the 3 gears back to the square 2 gears. Tarzan, elephant, elephant, Tarzan. Tarzan, elephant, elephant, Tarzan. You have to learn to feel that switch in the tempo, because when this is going by fast and you're just dictating, you ain't got time to reason why. How's that song go? All right, so next one. Again. Alligator, alligator, elephant, drum. Alligator, alligator, elephant, drum. Alligator, alligator, elephant, drum. Two more. This one's tricky. Listen very carefully. One more time. And once more. You can even hear it while I was writing it out. Elephant, elephant, elephant. If you listen to the tip of the pencil or feel the tip of the pencil, you can feel the rhythm. Okay. Elephant, Tarzan, elephant, drum. Elephant, Tarzan, elephant, drum. Now that should be 16. All right, so now, very quickly here, I'm going to do a summary. We have drum, Tarzan, alligator. We call those our staples. Then the next thing that came was Alizan, Alizan. The next thing that comes is Tar-Gator, Tar-Gator, Tar-Gator. Alizan, Tar-Gator, Alizan, Tar-Gator. Then the following week, we started suspending these syllables. And what we got was Humpty, Humpty, and its opposite, butter, Humpty, butter, Humpty, butter, 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 Humpty, drum. And we just done the triplet, and we've also done TAR-ZAN, ZAN, TAR-ZAN, ZAN, which can be written like that. TAR-ZAN, ZAN, TAR-ZAN, ZAN. So when you see something like this, you see a tar and a zan on the end. So this must be a tar and a zan. Actually, it's a zan tar, right? You have tar, zan, zan. Tar, zan, zan. So it's tar, zan, zan. Tar, zan, zan. You still think the whole code word, but you just hold the syllables that are being suspended. So now let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 code words which should give you most of what's happening out there. Now we are going to introduce some Bach. There are 3 pieces of Bach in the Anna Magdalena Book 1. So if you have the Anna Magdalena Book 1, there are 3 pieces in there that we're going to use to sort of, actually, we're going to learn to notate the entire piece rhythmically. We're going to learn to notate the right hand, and then we're going to learn to write out the left hand separately. And then we're also going to try to, this week, tonight sometime, I'm going to try to make a PDF of those 3 pieces and see if I can post them online in the dibbly-doo down below. So on tonight's dibbly-doo, later on this evening or tomorrow morning, I hope to have the PDF mounted so you can download it, look at it online, or print it to your printer and examine it for these code words. And you will see that all 3 pieces use all of these code words in various forms and shapes. Bach loves playing around with these 2 guys a lot, where he'll put them TAR-ZAN, TAR-ZAN. So you wind up with an alligator in the middle, right? You have a TAR-ZAN. You can see it that way. TAR-ZAN, TAR-ZAN, right? TAR-ZAN, TAR-ZAN. He also likes to screw around with the butter and ergot, or butter Humpty, butter Humpty, butter Humpty. He likes to shuffle those back and forth a lot. So you'll usually, if you see one of these in the piece, he might use this one 4 times. Da 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 da. You suddenly just throw one of these in and then go back to the other code word. So next week, fun with Bach, and we will show you that the Anna Magdalena Book 1, I remember looking through it the other day and I couldn't find a single piece in there that had any code word that we haven't used. Not one piece. They are throwing in some suspensions with the, using this, the TAR-ZAN, ZAN, TAR-ZAN drum, TAR-ZAN, ZAN, TAR-ZAN drum, Tarzan, Tarzan, alligator, Tarzan, right? He does those kinds of things. And he does goof around with the da-da-da, Tarzan drum, Tarzan drum, Tarzan drum, Tarzan drum, Tarzan drum. Do a whole piece with just Tarzan drum. The entire piece, both hands. And then in other songs, he's mixing up these code words. He likes to mix up drum with alligator a lot. Drum, alligator, Alizan, Tarzan, Tarzan, Tarzan. So he does that a lot. And we'll be looking at those pieces just rhythmically, okay? And then what I'm going to do is next week also, and possibly the week after that, I'm going to start throwing up some rhythms that are a little bit more advanced. And what we're going to do is, instead of using the 3 basic code words and then mixing in these others as we've gone, as we have, I'm going to be using all of them. And we'll just mix them all up. And what we'll do is have 1 or 2 weeks where I'm just throwing out the 4 code words at you in any order, any of these. And if you get past that, trust me, you can go to music school and get through it easily. You can listen to most people playing instruments, and if you listen carefully, you'll be able to write down all the rhythms. So, till next week, be well, be fine, be kind, rewind. See you all next week. Bye-bye, everybody. So long from the Haight-Ashbury. From my family to yours.